Jared loves calling in with some Game of Thrones questions for me. We clip these out, put them on Casterly Talk or here on Casterly Talk if you're watching. So, Jared, take it away. Where are we going in these kind of this quasi Game of Thrones rewatch series?
Yep. Oh, I told you we gotta bully you into doing it, and it works. So
And it
tonight we
worked.
got season 5, episode 4, "Sons of the Harpy," written by David Hill, directed by Mark Mylor, and
Mm-hmm.
it. Yep. And this one is a packed episode. It's got, I think, about 6 stops from the Wall to Dorne and all the way to Marine and everything in
Yep.
between. Yep. Oh, it goes everywhere. But
Yes, it
the
does.
scene, the scene I want to dive into tonight is Stannis at the wall with Shireen. Stannis is in the office doing paperwork as a true king does. Daughter
Yes.
walks in, and basically, long story short, asks, "Are you ashamed of me because
Yep.
of the grayscale?" And he tells her the story of how he called every healer, maester, and apothecary to come heal her because he
Mm.
also told everybody to go to hell when they said send her to Volantis.
Mm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
such a beautiful scene.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, it
we are
is.
not that far away from Stannis being the most awful son of a. But I'm jumping ahead of myself.
Yep.
Let us focus on how
Yep.
great of a father he is in this scene.
Yes, and he is in this scene, and up to this point. I mean, well, no, he hasn't been a great father. Let me take that back. Even in jest, I can't say that he's been a pretty distant father. He's been Stannis, and if you've listened to Casterly Talk or Daily Thrones or me talk Game of Thrones anywhere, maybe you watched Talking Thrones back in the day with Tiffany and Michelle Boyd and Maud Garrett and that time frame. You know I love Stannis. In fact, that was the season that show to excuse me, The Night is Dark, I should say. The Night is Dark. Talking Thrones was on Screen Junkies and Collider. I was known as a Stannis guy. I'm still a Stannis guy. And this was a very kind of victorious moment for me, Jared. This episode, even all the stuff that goes on in this episode, and there's a lot, like you said, this episode ended, and I'm riding the high of the end of season 4 with Stannis saving the day. I'm kind of recruiting people on my side a little bit. That Stannis is the Manus. That the Iron Throne is his by right. And here he is, just being for once maybe a good father, telling the story in this wonderful, wonderful scene with Shireen, which I do believe is this the scene or one of the scenes with Shireen that has all the House of the Dragon spoilers in it that you could want. Just
No, that
is
was,
that
I
later?
believe that one. Yeah, that's no. I think it was earlier. Actually, I think
Okay,
that already happened.
there
Yeah,
you go.
because that
Beware.
was on Dragon Keep. Yeah.
Yeah, beware if you're a House of the Dragon fan who hasn't read the Fire and Blood book. Anyway, so I love this moment, Steve, and Jared, and Steve's here as well. But this episode ended, and everyone watching with me were like, "All right, maybe you've been right," and I was like, "God damn straight, I've been right." I had no idea this was gonna end up where it went, though.
And that's what's most heartbreaking about the rewatch of this scene. It's just like, bro, and I kind of agree with you. Like, no, he's
Mhm.
no Eddard Stark father, but
Right?
he's also not terrible to Shireen. Like, she
No.
knows he loves her. He's just Stannis, and it's not malice, and she accepts her father as that. It's
Hmm.
the mom who's
Yeah.
needs, child protective services called on.
Mom's, the meat's turned a little bit. The meat's turned over there a little bit with mom. Um,
But
yeah, yeah.
the sincerity in that story that he has for her, and just letting her know, like, no, you are the Princess Shireen. Like, of
It
course, I'm not ashamed of you.
Yeah, and we're talking, around the burning of her and the murder of her, that the sacrifice of her that he goes through, and I say this before, I've said it before in this channel, and I'll say it here now. It's like I identified with Stannis early on. There's a lot I love about the character. I also think Stephen Delane's just a wonderful performer, but I don't want anyone to ever think that it's like he's who you should follow. As the show goes on, I dug deeper into the themes and what was being presented by the story in terms of just the art and these characters. Stannis is this ongoing lesson of the danger of losing self and losing who you are. And I think in this scene, what they're essentially setting up, and I don't mean to just say it's a plot point setting up something further, but it serves the purpose of saying, he was a good father, or could have been, and has had this wonderful, as you said, sincere moment that you are kind of, if you're not wiping a tear away, you might be fist pumping a little bit. I was in the room. I was crying and fist pumping. But he loses that. He loses that in the pursuit of not just the throne or what he feels is his, but this obsession. And he loses all these good things about him. He was always a curmudgeon, always a grump. No one wanted to hang out with him. That's why a lot of people just didn't want him on the throne. Bit of an a-hole, but he got the job done. He cared for those around him. Davos is an example of that. He just had some problems at home. I'm saying with quotation marks around it, so not defending him, but I'm just saying, but he lost himself, and this scene really reminds that. What happens to him later on in the fight and the Battle of Winterfell, all this stuff, by then it's all already gone. It's fait accompli. It's done. But this is a moment where you're still rooting for him. I am still rooting for him. Of don't lose yourself. This is who you really are. But when faced with the idea of even sacrificing his daughter for some power based on some magic that he's never believed in, that's where we meet him. Even his brother has, I can see why you found religion in your old age, as he looks at Melisandre and this and that. But Crespin early on, Oliver Ford Davies, C.O. Bibble from Phantom Menace and the Star Wars prequels, is like, what are you doing, man? Davos, what is he doing? Yeah. This isn't you. And that's the start of his journey, and this is a heart-wrenching moment. And in a weird way, I love it, Jared.
It is, because it shows, too. Again, he's not an evil man. He has a sense of honor and purpose, but he, again, like you excellently said, he lets it get to his head. He lets Melisandre sell it strong. She does.
Hey. Even in this episode, Melisandre's trying to seduce Jon Snow to Stannis' side, and they have that great scene in the elevator and the "you know nothing" Jon Snow line and everything about her up there. Yeah, it's there's a lot at work here, but in a busy episode, I'm glad you highlighted this, not just for my love of Stannis or my years defending Stannis while everyone rolls their eyes at me. Every time I'd mention Stannis Baratheon, Michelle Boyd would start screaming at me on shows, as she should have, But yeah, this is one of my favorite moments because of what we're talking about here today.
Yeah, no, I chose it mostly because I think it is the best scene in the episode. It's a packed episode, but I feel there's a lot of could been better. Sand Snake scene and whatnot.
Yep.
The Cersei stuff in King's Landing wasn't a particularly good standout. The Bronn a couple of the Bronn conversations with Jaime, but. No, man, it's Stannis and his daughter in that quiet room.
I kind of agree that just rolling through the scenes, King's Landing, Cersei, the Iron Bank. I love, we got mentions of the Iron Bank. We got the High Sparrow, the Face Militant. They're starting to go a little wild there. Yeah, the introduction of the Sand Snakes, which is something I really look forward to. And in years on now, I do think the show did a good job of what they had, but it was a lot. And as I've mentioned before, the producers have talked about it. But I agree, Jared. Stannis wins the day, and everything worked out after that.
Actually, of course, always. They all lived happily ever after.
They did. They did. Happily ever after. Well, there you go. That is why I like Stannis. That is the lessons of Stannis Baratheon, Stannis Amanus. I get it.
Yes,
he did some horrible things, but he paid the price, friends. He paid the price. Jared, thanks for the Game of Thrones.